Hello everyone, Venris here, and today we are talking about Kingdoms and Wildlands. So new update for SFO. This is version 1.2 of SFO 3 Grimhammer mod, and it's for patch 4.0 for Total War Warhammer 3. And I will be talking about the changelog, the moment of when this video is being released and recorded. The update is going to be released on Friday the 29th. And I, with this changelog, want to talk about the changes, explain some of them, and so on. Of course, there will be some other videos in the future that will be explaining specific changes like lore of the hacks and other stuff that I want to record. But overall, about the notes, yeah, we can go through them. First of all, we have small adjustment to the stances, like in general stuff. Some of the stances were quite easy to exploit because they have stacking effects, so we worked on all of those and they are working better right now. Seduction costs, so yeah, Slanesh stuff is being lowered, so because seduction takes your treasure cost, yeah, for the game, and it was quite high. Playing Slanesh was not good because he had low income, and using gold to get the better battle was also very hard. So seduction overall is easier, better to do, better to check stuff. Armies of Beastmen and Savage Orcs, also the Nakai, so the factions that are re-emerging as a horde will have better units, so they are also better challenge. Yeah, if you see them, they won't be having the same units, they will be randomized, more interesting for sure. All the human factions have better relations with each other from the beginning. This is because of the, like, Empire has a lot of problems because there are a lot of enemies there. And yeah, we are changing those to just to be better yeah, and playing them. Max trade cap, the thing that is being adjustable in this update from Creative Assembly, is 50 from 40. If you want more, there are other mods that are doing it. We are not doing those. Other big change, the SFO mod menu is being changed like a lot. Like, for example, the option to make the campaign faster or slower was divided to several options, so you can have faster building, slower building, technology growth. Everything is more separated. There are some fun options like total war and total peace, so all factions get negative or positive relations with each other, so as I was saying, making stuff more funny. Some ROR units were rebalanced, so it's interesting to play a different legendary lord because a specific unit will be unlocked faster or slower as you're playing. Yeah. Many units have received permanent bonus to recruitment units. We had it on the Dwarfs in the past, and now all the factions have it. Like, so there's an incentive to build a smith, yeah, in your province, because recruited units will increase their armor, stuff like that. More information about faction mechanic, like for example, Ostanka in vanilla has 0 information about her units or what stuff she's getting in terms of mechanic. Now you're getting those on the campaign selection screen, so you don't need to launch the campaign to check stuff internally. Global recruitment reduction for some buildings. It is like for the province, like very high tier buildings can reduce the global recruitment. This is also the quality of life change, especially for the end game, so you don't need to slog for those advanced provinces to get the recruitment fast. Yeah, chance of spreading gods for monogods cults was increased to 35% from 25%. It's easier now to get the cults, especially that the cults are a very viable option for the monogods after the changes. As much as this to the units, I'm not talking about those. Thanks to the Dead Baron and Inu, we have the Cathay Gatemaster hero. Kislev, most Kislev changes. I won't be going like through all of those. I'll just want to go overall what's with the Kislev. The Kislev is, first of all, we have the big addition of Hagmother. She's a new generic lord for all the factions. You don't require DLC to have her, and she's giving the lore of hags. She has own lore of magic that we made, and yeah. Cool addition. Ostanki also have it. I think it's interesting to have something that we always wanted for the Kislev, especially with this DLC. Mother Stankia, there were not much changes to her, so those were not even written. We really, the changes that the most we did, like all her mechanics are more expensive because it was really easy to farm them, and also you abuse the mechanic, let's call them. So we changed that a bit. It's still very strong character, but not so easy and abusable as before. Do we have anything else in the Kislev? Not really. We made some buffs to the Motherland rituals, the upgraded versions. We already had those reworked in the previous updates, but we also made some stuff better right now. Kislev is overall in a very divided position right now. We are thinking about the bigger rework for the faction. The faction that requires more time that we didn't have with this making this update. So we are thinking about the Ice Court mechanic recruitment to be actually working on patriarchs, things like that, because having that for those Stankia doesn't really fit. So yeah, we are thinking about changes for this mechanic. With the Cathay, the biggest change goes to the economy because of the compass changes and the harmony. The economy had to be rebalanced a bit, so we worked on that a lot. Big addition that we are giving to all Cathay factions. We feel that is necessary, that they are gaining the vision upon all owned regions of their trade partners. Yeah, this is a thing that Yuan Bo has a base, but we thought that why it should not be here. Yeah. So it's added. It's also added to the High Elves, but more like an end technology. But still, it is here. We are adding it. We want it for the Cathay to all the lords have. Well, Yuan Bo had mostly been nerfed in terms of mechanic because his mechanic is very cool, but is also very powerful, especially those districts of cities that you can make. Their faction light effects were very, very impressive. Like they were stronger than some of the campaign effects of Zhaoming or Miaoing. So we also rework those. Zhaoming and Miaoing are getting their own mechanics. Zhaoming is more about making battles and you're getting stronger. Miaoing is like you gather resources, special new resource to make the raids that are giving bonuses to the whole faction. Yeah, small additions, but we want to make those both of those characters a bit on par with Yuan Bo to also make your game more interesting. Cool addition that we are adding is also the Gate Master. Gate Master is like a your melee option that has a lot of cool buffs for yin or yang units, and is a new melee lord that really hero that Cathay really needed. So we are adding that. Other stuff. Jade Lions, in terms of the unit rebalance, were given change to 4 models from 1 model. We thought that the 1 model unit really doesn't work, especially on such a low tier. So we didn't want to buff the unit. We want to give it a better role, in our opinion. And Grand Longma, all units of Grand Longma were buffed with more melee attack, defense, and speed. If we are moving to Bretonnia, Bretonnia is going to be a lot here. So first of all, we added the new resource to the Bretonnia. It's called Valor, and you get it from vows and frauds. So right now there is an incentive to do those, because like late game you were never almost doing those, especially if you had a high chivalry, and you can get those ASAP. So right now getting those is important, because when you use it, have them, they will generate valor, and valor is used for 2 things. One of those is upgrades for the units. Upgrades are quite simple, like increased replenishment, magic resistance, stuff like that, but for some units they are giving the ability to dismount in battle, option that is very needed for Bretonnia, but we didn't want it to give an option to recruit units just like that with the Bretonnia. So there is a mechanic to do it, so we can dismount during the sieges, stuff like that. And I think it's very have a lot of utility actually for the game and the Bretonnia factions, as we internally decided that we don't see a need for any new Bretonnia units. Really, we like the roster. It's we may add some units in the future when the old world tabletop is being released, but right now we don't see like an option and need for Bretonnian units. So we have this dismount stuff. Other stuff is that the faction-wide abilities are now faction-wide abilities. I mean those that legendary lord had like an army ability for them is now for the whole faction. But only legendary lords start with them enabled. To get it, you need to get the blessing of the lady. So I think that was cool in vanilla, but it wasn't too much really in terms of like utility or changing how you're playing the faction. So we made that it's actually unlocking the army ability depending on your Bretonnia faction, and it's making something we thought is cool. Chivalry overall, because of those changes, was changed to have only knights effects. This is quite important, so increased replenishment, stuff like that for the knights only, not the whole faction as it is, because as we are adding new stuff to all the factions, we'll call it, then we are always also focusing on making that everything is balanced in a way of faction power. But Bretonnia was quite strong faction, and we didn't want to make it stronger, so we just had to level up some stuff, so there were some nerfs here and there, so we can fit the new mechanic to the balance. Yeah. That also goes with vows upkeep. So when you don't have a vow, normally it's 200 upkeep increase for the faction. We changed that. Now it's only 25% penalty. Why? Because 200 was very limiting for the faction that was based on those knights solely, yeah, because it's mostly we are using knights, and having this being unlocked for the half of the roster doesn't really fit. We want to make it fun, but still it's always an incentive to do it because of the vows and this lowered upkeep. Okay, we have a lot of changes small to the each legendary lord. I won't go into the deep. Like with Rebalance, we just move most of her campaign effects to the water supplies, so the effect that you are getting when your lord is in the province, is in the settlement garrison. So it's like an incentive to take it and then go for 5 turns, and you can have a benefit from it. She also is more based on post-battle loot than the building income, so post-battle is higher, buildings income is lower for her faction. With Fey Enchantress, we made something, I would say something a bit different. So Fey Enchantress starts as a peaceful, let's say, mood, and randomly during the campaign you get an event for several turns that she becomes wrathful, and when she becomes wrathful, different rituals, because she has new rituals right now, the right system, are being unlocked, and depending if she's peaceful or wrathful, you can use different the rituals for her faction. Llewellyn Call is more about like stable stuff in terms of Bretonnia, so he's getting more valor from battles. I'm always saying he. He. I'm sure that he's he. He's getting more valor from battles, so this is also quite an important thing. And no other faction is getting, and he get more knighthood upgrades. Yeah, so those heroism acts, and also he's getting the like a progressive missions that will be getting some faction-wide bonuses when you met all the requirements when you hand those mission champs. Quite simple, but I think it's working for the Bretonnia and Loen especially. With Alberic, the big change that he's getting is that he is a horde lord right now. So he's getting like a ship, we call it the Bretonnia Navy, and he has several options for this ship that can increase mostly stuff and buffs for the province he is in. So it's being built faster, cheaper, armies around are better, so it's easier for him to make like an actual errand in lands of Lustria, because he's starting in Lustria, so you can go, and when he's around, like armies are replenishing foreign territory and so on. And this is like a building system for his horde that you are getting and doing for whole of his campaign. Some technology changes, small stuff. I won't be going into more details because, you know, that's quite self-explanatory. Big change that I can tell right now, it's milling and storage buildings are now excluding each other and can be only done in the major settlement, and their effects are also province-wide. So it's easier to manage those, because previously you were spending 2 slots on every province, every region to make the proper economy. Right now you don't need to. You have it one in the major. In the minor you can do different stuff like barracks or hospitals, like actual more building options right now. And this is also other change, that Bretonnia is only faction that on tier 3 is getting minor settlements battle unlocked without walls. Yeah, so we're getting back to this philosophy that was with Bretonnia previously in Warhammer 1, in Warhammer 2. They were getting walls on tier 3 minor settlements. Now they're getting settlement battle options. Yeah, here. Peasant economy, also big change with here. Peasant economy was changed in a way that it's tier based right now, so depending on what tier below the cap, this is important, you want to be below the cap, like above the cap maybe, you know, when you have more than you have a cap. So you want, if you want to really go crazy, you can make a lot of peasants, ignore farms, go yeah. If you go crazy, then your army will be cheaper, higher replenishment, sorry, not cheaper but higher replenishment, more XP, and also the better stat bonuses for the peasants. Actually, you can make, if you want to spam peasant, they will be better. If you don't want to spam them, then the economy will be better. You will check in the game, okay? I'm not going to talk about the effects. Because of all the changes, also knights will replenish and level up slower. Again, this is about the thing that I was saying. We want to balance stuff. We are adding new stuff, but also balancing. So overall power of the faction is staying the same. Oh, okay. Bretonnia was the most biggest focus on this update, but also the faction that is a lot of focus is Norsca. The big thing with Norsca is that they're all about raising right now. Yeah, so we put up to plus 25% movement replenishment from raising in the technology 3. It's, you know, it's 5 here, 5 here, 5 here. When you have it, so yeah, raising will be way more fun to do. A new dilemma is also occurring every 3 turns, that you can pick who you want to go with relations increase in terms of the bad factions, and when you do it, you get a mission. When you finish it, you get a proper reward, so let's call it for it, and also relations bonuses for this specific faction. And it's always every 30 turns, so you can rotate it. Plunder is a new resource, and we are mostly using this resource. This is quite simple. This is based on Chaos Dwarfs. So it's you, when you're using the plunder, you are getting the option to build some advanced military buildings. If you remember, advanced military buildings in SFO Norsca are giving faction bonuses and unit caps for the units, because the units are in the main chain recruitment. You don't have like a specific unit recruitment buildings. So yeah, you're using this plunder. We want to move the incentive from Norsca to be like focused on the income is good, but we want income to be mostly focused on units and not that much on the actual buildings and so on. Yeah. Frog and Wolfric are getting 14 new technologies, each of them. Overall, the technologies were separated into parts. Like everything about against the factions right now is plunder, its own tab. Everything about just buffing units, its own tab, just based times. So I think it's quite easy. Outpost settlements are unwalled settlements. Yeah, this should be like that. Small fix. And outpost buildings overall received a lot of new effects, and again, same as Norsca, the recruitment is in the main chain for all the units. The other buildings are just giving a lot of new effects. Overall, outposts are just better. You can actually utilize them, and they can defend themselves from time to time. Control, a lot of bonuses to control for the Norsca, so you won't have problem with public order. Yeah, I always call public order. Yeah, and other small stuff that doesn't need explanations. In terms of Zinj, with terms of Zinj, we have thing that all the monogods are getting. So its manifestations are way better right now, especially that sneezing today as hell. because of Zinj. Manifestations overall are getting removal of those effects that like for 2 turns don't move, so you get 25% more armor. And like compare them to the rituals or rites from Warhammer 2. Faction-wide bonuses, ASAP, without any problems. Manifestations are very bad in vanilla, I have to say. So we really rework those for the all Monogod factions, because this is the thing, like Monogod factions I don't think require like a big rework that we just did for the Bretonnia. They need some adjustments, and right, we want to focus on those adjustments. And other adjustments are the cults. So cults they are getting, as you remember, the cults are now spreading faster, and the thing is that the cults are, each building is about something different. Yeah, like for example Zinj, one is giving grimoires. Previously what each was giving grimoires, but in a different way, let's say. Now only one is giving grimoires. Second is about buffing characters. Third about buffing spells, and so on. And each Monogod faction is getting that. It also links with thing that Kairos is getting, like him only, is getting 9 new powerful technologies for his Zinjan faction. We didn't went with a lot of changes to the changeling besides some nerfs, because he was very powerful. But we also made some early game buffs. For example, the you have more recruitment slots, so you don't need to end the turn to get the actual army at the beginning of the game. In terms of Slanesh, not big changes. As I was saying, only adjustments to manifestations, cults. We also made that all Monogod factions from the main chains are getting way more income from every settlement. And the other thing is that Slanesh, like purely Slanesh only, is getting that all his pleasure acts, so those edicts that you activate in the provinces, are lowering sedation cost faction wide right now. Yeah, so you want to use them because they have also the experience increase. So more you activate each province, more cool stuff you're getting. No additional changes to the corn, as I was saying. Income, manifestation, cults. With Nurgle, we have a big change because we are never very happy with income of Nurgle, because his rotation income, like each turn your income is changing because buildings were rotating. It was frustrating, really. So we wanted to make it a bit streamlined. So buildings are still rotating, but the income is not. All the effects, all the different effects are rotating, but the income is not. So income is only right now on a recruitment building, and industry building are increasing those military buildings income. So again, a way to better control your income as a Nurgle. Then we are moving to Ogre Kingdoms. There are no changes for the Ogre Kingdoms, and we are getting back to the Empire. Empire, okay, sorry. Ogre Kingdoms changes. Yeah, I need to like be ready for it, because there are a lot of changes. Again, adjustments. I won't call them rework. Yeah, they are adjustments. So rework of camps, not a base faction. Those changes were thanks with the association with Cerberus. And first of all, camps upkeep is now 100%, not 50% as we had before. 50 to getting to 100 is just 100. We buff the big names. They are more interesting, more stuff, and they are impactful right now. MAU offerings were also buffed, but the cost was increased. We thought that both MAU offerings and the pre-battle one that are using meat are insufficient, especially how much meat you are getting in the game. They should be like impactful, strong, but also more expensive, so you cannot spam them that much. Camp garrisons units receive many bonuses from building, so as the camp grows, the bonuses are being stronger. Overall, also units in camps are getting income experience passively, and then number of units spawned were changed to 10, not 4, and they are having better units from the start. Some effects were merged with each other, and also received penalties for the enemy. So overall, the camps are just better. And also we added new technologies that buffs the units for the camps. So again, better stuff. Contracts gold reward was overall doubled, so because those were very puny, like 4k late game. Yeah, they were very bad. We increased those. and some units buffs like Slave Giant, and my nose is always sneezing today because of the ogres. Yeah, we'll call it a sneezing video for the ogres. Slave Giant was buffed, Iron Guts a bit buffed, and Monitors are gaining 360 Arc of Firing. Empire, small adjustments again. We are waiting for the next DLC to know what we need to work with and new stuff that we can work with Empire. So Ulrich and Army abilities that we are getting from technology, their cooldown is lowered, you can use them more often. Adjutants, those followers, you know, that they get from Geld and Car, their base cost is halved, so you can get them ASAP from the beginning of the game, but they will be increasing the cost faster, so overall they will be more expensive later on. And each group of the technologies of the Empire received like a final technology that you get after making all of those minor technologies. Yeah. Dark Elves, small buffs to Malus. We saw that he's underperforming, especially in duels, and his disintegration of health in Zarkon was way too strong. And also, we have the most important change, though this has been. If you don't know what is it, then check patch 4.0 official Dark Elves changes. Chaos Dwarfs, no really big changes besides the influence. Now, my god, the nose! Influence gain of towers was changed to +4 on all the tiers, from changes to 2-6, depending on the tier, because we think that the early game influence should be higher, but late game is a bit too much, so it's like every game is faster right now. Lizardmen, we are adjusting alignments again, so some rituals received ability to block the passive loss, because passive loss is 2 per turn right now, so you can block it, so you're getting 3 alignments when it's active, and the minimum amount of alignments from battle was changed to +2 from +1. So as long as you have 1 battle per turn, then you are not losing anything. Area capacity was added to all the minor hordes to Nakai. That was never in vanilla. We don't know why we forgot about it, because you were limited with amount of armies with Nakai. His Nakai building of Nakai have more Nakai that are buffing his Nakai. Yeah, so Nakai. His buildings, his vassal is more self-sufficient right now. Yeah. Bastillodon, small nerf to healing, and technologies were separated into 2 tabs because new tabs are cool and they are making things way more clear. Beastmen. Moving to Beastmen, we have Morgur. So we decided to, let's go crazy, yeah? We added all the Chaos Spawn Warriors to Morgur. He can get them fully for free, but only at tier 5 hordes. Yeah? So he has to be on tier 5 horde, and then he can start recruiting those free Chaos Spawn for all the factions. As he see fits. Yeah. Godgors, so SFO Godgors were not changed, we just named the name to Chosen Godgors, so Xanagors from DLC are still there, and our Xanagors are also still there. Small buffs to the building effects, nothing really substantial. Yeah. Warriors of Chaos, the vassal corruption is being increased, because like +2 was almost nothing. Dark Fortresses have additional bonuses to defenders, so it's easier to defend them. We thought that they should be a bit stronger, and the post-battle was increased. And the Giants and Manticores will appear more often in recruitment pool, because we saw that they are very hard to get them. Yeah, so increase the chances. Skaven, we don't have a lot of changes. We think that Skaven is a good faction. We really like Skaven. We really want to get back to the Skavens at some point, especially to the technology tree, because it's a bit convoluted. And small stuff that we added is that the Skaven, the Skrolk, he has his own POX samples effects. He's like unique resources in SFO that we made that more you have it, the enemy movement range is being lowered on your territory. Also, the unique stance for Skaven is not debuffing enemy stats anymore, it's making the Skaven army fully hidden. Yeah. Dwarfs, not really much changes. Last update really focused on the dwarfs, so we don't want to focus. The Guildmaster New Lord was a bit buffed in terms of his skill. Another guard unit he received the magical attacks. Vampire Coast, a Monitors unit, the unit that is being added by CA to the Sartosa. We made that they are also being affected by the Sartosa effect. No, god damn it, my nose will explode. Because I just spoke about ogres. Yeah, this is why. I'm quite sure this is why. Okay, let's go. Let's go further. Small buffs to the rights. Yeah, self-explanatory. Vampire counts. Small buffs to the rights. We want to get back to the vampire counts and someday, but we need a solid idea first. Yeah, we need a solid idea, so we are thinking about it. Green skins. Again, we like same with the dwarves. No big changes. Good faction. We made a lot of adjustments to there. We just nerfing a Grimgore a bit because his fightiness is a bit too strong. Tomb King's Caledonian missions are getting the random items right now. Simple change, and the shift of focus for Ushapti. They have less armor piercing, but also have more bonus versus larger. Now we thought that they are overperforming right now. High Elves, so Alifanar right of Morak will hide all your armies faction-wide. Small buff. Again, with the High Elves especially, we are thinking about getting back to this faction as soon day and checking some of those stuff. And the Wood Elves, Groove Guardians, small change, the projectiles, they are better against multiple units. And again, like all the elves, like High Elves, Dark Elves, and Wood Elves, we are thinking about getting back to them because we think that they are starting to underperform and some of their mechanics are unintentionally not being used so much by the players. But don't expect a rework. We are thinking about some adjustments, so more on par like you had just now, the Empire Ogres or Ogres or maybe like a Monogod faction. Yeah, so this would be all. Maybe not the biggest change that we ever did, but I'm quite proud of the changes that we did. Of course, this thing will be released today. Important thing, we are also working on the SFO Lite version, so this everything that you have in SFO, but the units stats are vanilla, so you don't need a submod for the units to work with an SFO. It's going to be released next week, most likely after the release, because as I said, it's still in works. And also the Mother Hack with Lore of Hacks is being released as a standalone vanilla mod soonish, so plan is also next week. Okay, thank you everyone for the video. Remember to feed the YouTube algorithm for us, and if you like our content, to subscribe to our Patreon and support us out there if you like this free content. Thank you everyone for watching. I was Venris, and I'm out.